the spring bracket. It's not cracked or broken. It's properly mounted secured to your frame. All these bolts here. All right. There's no shackle back here. Don't have to worry about shackle. Just your spring hanger. Then you got leaf springs down here. You got 2 leaf springs sandwiched on top of each other. Same thing with the front. They're not cracked or broken. They're not shifted, and none are missing. Okay. All right. Then we're going to go on to our saddle. Remember, we had a saddle in the front too. We have one back here too. We can see our big U-bolts that go over the top of it. Sandwich it all together. See it over there? Mm-hmm. Yep. And the U-bolts there, so our saddle and our U-bolts and our U-bolts and the nuts on the bottom, sandwich it all together to your axle. Not cracked or broken. They're not missing. And they look pretty good overall. They look pretty spiffy if you ask me. Okay, we stay on our suspension. We've also got a shock absorber back here. Shock absorber. Same thing. It's properly mounted secured on the top via this mounting bracket to your frame. And on the bottom, it's attached to your saddle. If you follow it, you can kind of see where it sticks out there. The saddle actually comes out. I think your book might actually say leaf spring. It's attached to your leaf spring. Take your pick. All right. So our shock absorber, it's properly mounted secured on the top via this mounting bracket to your frame. Finally. And on the bottom to your saddle or your leaf springs. You can say either word. Either word's acceptable. Also, liquid in there, right? So it's not leaking. Yes. All right. There's one thing that's different from your front suspension and your rear suspension. These bad boys right here. Yeah. Airbags. They're rubber. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts, right? There's air inside them. What does that mean?
Not leaking.
It's not leaking, right? It's properly mounted secured on the top to your frame, and on the bottom, it's attached to your saddle or leaf spring. All right. So you're gonna have to. We're gonna have this trailer on top of here for your test, all right? So if you're back here, if you're in the front of the tire, make sure you come over here because it's easier to forget that airbag. Because you can't really see it that well unless you're over here. All right. I just have the trailer off so we can see things a little bit better. That's just suspension in the back. All right. So we're going to go to our chads next. There's no steering components back here, obviously. So we're going to go to our chads, our air brake system. CHADS. Our first one is our air chamber. Right here.
Okay.
Sit. All right, now your air chamber looks a lot bigger than the one in the front, doesn't it?
It's dual.
It's dual. What's dual about it?
Service and
Spring
brake. So this has your emergency and or parking brake spring in it on the one furthest away from the axle, and then your service brake is that chamber closer to the axle. Now your steer axle only has a service brakes on it.
Right.
That's for a pretty good reason. Remember that air pressure, that 120 pounds of pressure is keeping that spring tight. So your brakes are working, right? If you lose air pressure between 20 and 40 psi, there's not enough pressure to keep that spring compressed. It's going to spring open. It's going to lock your brakes. It's going to push those brake shoes up against your drums, and you're going to come to a very fast and violent stop. And if your front tires lock up, you're going to come to a very violent, fast stop, and it's probably going to hurt. Let's put it that way. So you don't want your front tires locking up. That way there's no spring brakes in the front. Just on this axle. You notice back here, the chamber, it's also a single. It's not a double. And so it's just this first axle.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
So
Yeah.
just the first set of.
This axle here is the only one with the dual brake chamber. Alright, so our air chamber is properly mounted secured with this bracket. It's not cracked or broken. It's not dented, right? Dented, keyword. They're not dented because of a rubber bladder system. It's not leaking. There's air inside there. They're not leaking. The hoses. There's 2 hoses that come off it on the side here. Your hoses, no abrasions, bulges, or cuts. They're not leaking. They come off of this piece here and they come down into your brake chamber. You can always tell it's a dual chamber because there's 2 hoses coming out of it. They're not cracked or broken. They're not dented. They're not leaking air. Properly mounted secure. That's our A. C. It's our C. H are hoses coming off it. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts. We're going to talk about this. Connections are secure and tight, and they're not leaking air. CHA, slack adjuster. They're hard to see, especially with the trailer on here, but our slack adjuster is in front. It's right behind the chamber here, but it's in front of the axle. Back here, you can kind of see the slack adjuster right here. From this angle, you can see it even better. See it over there on that other side? You guys see it over here? Maybe over here. So your slack adjuster and push rod does the exact same thing as the front. It takes that air, turns it into mechanical energy, pushes those shoes up against your drums. So our slack adjuster and push rod, probably not secured, not cracked or broken. There's no missing pins or cotter keys. There's no missing parts, no missing bolts. Okay. Also, a thing I forgot on the very front, which let's go back to the front. You guys want to caught me on this? There's a measurement up here on your slack adjuster and push rods.
1 inch.
1 inch. You guys already know it.
I missed it 3 times on the test, so
Nice.
I will
Nice.
never forget it.
Yes.
Ever.
You should have called me on it, guys. Called me on this stuff. Okay, your slack adjuster and push rod. There should be no more than 1 inches of free play with travel with
Tested brake spring with spring brakes releases.
with the brakes released. That's what they want to hear.
What is it? Can you repeat that one? Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, repeat. Yes, sir. There's no more than 1 inch of free play with the brakes released. Right now the brakes are set.
No more than one.
Right.
The brake right now the brakes are set, right? So I can actually move this. I can move it a little bit. It's hard, but I can do it. Now, with your brakes released, you shouldn't be able to move that more than 1 inch. All right. That's letting you know it's adjustable. If you got that movement, that gives it room to self-adjust. Remember this self-adjusting. If it moves more than 1 inch, that's way too much.
Yeah, they talked about that. I mean, are we really supposed to self-adjust those suckers?
No. Well, they're self-adjusting, so you don't have to adjust it.
Oh, okay. Because they talked about it somewhere I read. I don't know.
How did you move that?
I just pulled it out. It's pretty stiff, but you can move it.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Okay, so the same thing in the back here. No more than 1 inch of free play with the brakes released. And you got to remember that with brakes released. They're going to want to hear that. All right, so that's our slack adjuster and push rod. We're going to go to our brake drums. So they're in the same place. They're way up underneath here.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Keep
so
going.
is it this?
I'm sorry.
Yep, they're back behind here. Go around that side, you can see.
This? Is it the, okay. That's the drum. It's a drum.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, let me see. I don't see what
Okay,
you're looking for.
where drum is this? Right?
Yes, that's your brake drum. Yep, you got it. Okay, so our drums, same thing as the front. They're not cracked or broken. There's no cracks. They're not dented. They're not broken. I thought you were gonna answer. And there's no signs of oil or grease in there, and also there's no loose brake parts rolling around inside there. S, your brake shoes.